Mayor Brand, along with Chief Jerry Dyer and District Attorney Lisa Smitkamp, spoke to the council in favor of the board. Brand's plan includes a 9-member panel picked from a diverse group of citizens. They would review major police incidents such as officer-involved shootings. The group would give quarterly reviews to the City Council.
And the creation of this board, advisory board, is a major step forward in building a bridge of trust between our police department and community members. It will be part of a larger effort to implement community-based policing citywide in the coming years.
The current police auditor is located in Utah and is a part-time position. Brand says that is changing.
To a full-time position that must live in Fresno, and among other different duties, it has community outreach is one of the duties. This person must go out in the community and connect the community that he's representing.
Chief Dyer supports the mayor's proposal, hoping it brings better contact with the community.
Because there's a lot of individuals in a community that are very loud, that do not represent the interest of a community. But those are the ones that we generally hear from. This advisory board is going to be extremely important to the OIR and the police department in making sure we get an accurate assessment of the community.
Okay, motion carries 3 yes and 2 no.
The council approved the mayor's plan by a 3-2 vote. Councilman Gary Bredefeld was one of the opposing votes.
No matter what we do, there will be individuals that will never trust us, and that's the truth. You can do 40 of these boards, and they've been done.
Andy Levine of Faith in Fresno is supportive of the idea, but not sure if it would make enough of an impact.
It does not yet reflect what we think it needs to in terms of some real specifics and teeth and even concrete plans for how this body will not just sort of be a symbolic one and one that looks good on paper, but instead one that will really address the concrete issues and make a change in our community.
Our goal is to go to these tough neighborhoods in all neighborhoods and build up that bridge of trust so that the citizens are safer, our police are safer.
On March 13th, this trommel was discovered missing by its owner. Ranchers use it after they've pulled up trees to grind up the branches.
Kicks the dirt and the rocks out so that you get a nice clean mulch.
The trommel is worth about $130,000. Losing it would be a devastating blow to the business of its owner. Thanks to the sheriff's ag task force and a witness, they're getting it back. Someone spotted it in the field only 15 miles away from where it was taken. Also found was a stump grinder that the owner didn't even know was missing. The total value of the stolen items was $230,000. Body says it's unusual and difficult to take and hide such a large piece of equipment.
For somebody to steal this, it was just crazy because it's huge and you wouldn't expect something like this to disappear.
Body says there are steps that can be taken to ID farm equipment if it is recovered, like marking it with initials or the name of the farm or ranch it belongs to.
Since tractors and those trailers and things like that, they're not tracked like our vehicles are on the road through the DMV. So once a thief gets those, it's a lot easier for them to move them around.
Hot weather means business is good for places like Island Water Park.
When it starts getting hot in the Central Valley, there's no place better to go than the Island Water Park.
And the economy is not slowing things down, according to General Manager Terry Mackey.
We're up 100% over last year already.
What's new this year? Bondi Beach and the VIP area.
We've got 60,000 square foot of white sand, cabanas, misters. We've really put a lot of improvements into the park.
Have you been here 4 days? Oh, I don't know where I've been.
This is the first year here for Diane and her kids.
Their school came, and then we could upgrade for a reasonable price, so we upgraded that day so we could get a season pass.
And some come here every year.
Bought our tickets early, and so we're out here at least every week.
We come every year, every summer, and our kids look forward to it. This is our first trip this year, and it's been a great day.
It's really fun here. Everything's really nice.
And for some, it's just a summer thing to do in this town.
Well, it's Fresno, and it's hot, and we're about 3 hours from the beach, so this is the closest thing to just cooling off. And we don't have a pool, so my kids love it here. We have 5 kids, and they just love coming here.
At Island Water Park, Bob Lopez, KC24, Central Valley's news station.
I'd just like to start off by saying we have truly this morning here drawn a line in the sand.
The city of Madera is taking a hard stance against graffiti. The mayor, along with other city and county officials, are meeting all week to come up with a new strategy towards eradicating this nuisance. They've hired a consulting firm to help fight the problem.
Yes, it's going to cost money. Yes, it's going to cost extra resources. But the alternative to that is if we don't do something, the alternative is much worse.
It's a problem that made the front page of the Madera Tribune. Madera police made some major arrests over the weekend of several graffiti suspects, including one who police say is the leader of a graffiti gang. Several guns, marijuana plants, and hallucinogenic mushrooms were also confiscated during the arrests. Police say he kept pictures of himself tagging buildings on his laptop computer as well. The Tribune has also had its problems with graffiti. It's not just the unsightliness of the graffiti, it's a quality of life issue as well.
If you're a store or a place of business and there's graffiti on the one next door, that debases your store too.
Boyle and Associates are the anti-graffiti consultants the city has hired. They have worked with the cities of San Jose and Richmond in dealing with graffiti and have had much success. They say it's more than just painting over tags that leads to the eradication of the problem.
You have to have people from your own community that will come and help. You have to have volunteers. The job is too big, especially when you first start, because there's so much graffiti out there. The people in the community have to step up.
In Madera, Bob Lopez, KC24, Central Valley's news station. And with that out of the way, the new juvenile delinquency court is open for business. Today, local, county, and state officials had a tour of the new building. It updates the juvenile system with 6 courtrooms, waiting rooms, and the latest court technology. Juvenile presiding Judge David Gottlieb welcomes the change.
The change was really needed 10 years ago. When the Fresno Bees said it was a hall of shame, it really kind of hit the nail on the head. We weren't doing justice with our kids in that previous building.
Ground was broken on the new facility 2 years ago, but the planning began over a decade ago. The 2-story building totals over 120,000 square feet and costs $56 million to build. Despite the price tag, there will be some savings.
Since we opened the Juvenile Justice Campus, which is directly behind us, when we opened on Monday, we began saving over $1 million a year in transportation and holding costs back from the 10th Street facility to here.
Having several departments under one roof also adds to efficiency. Christina Olson helped open the new court by singing America the Beautiful on her release date. She says the juvenile system has helped her life and is inspired to give back.
I'm planning to go to college and get my master's degree in music because I want to be a high school choir teacher. And maybe even one day I could be a high school choir teacher for JJC.
In Fresno, Bob Lopez, KC24, Central Valley's news station. Senator Feinstein came to Harris Ranch in Coalinga to meet privately with farmers, state and federal water officials and local leaders to come up with ways to deal with the drought. They came up with both short-term and long-term solutions.
The first was an intertie between the 2 water projects, one state and one federal. The second was something called 2 gates, which involves the delta and a methodology that might be helpful in keeping the fish out of the pumps.
The intertie would allow water to be moved back and forth during an emergency. As for long-term solutions,
the solution very clearly is a water bond.
Water bonds would pay for facilities needed to collect water from rainy years. In the past, the state could not contain the runoff. Feinstein and Jim Costa feel the state's water infrastructure is in dire need of an overhaul.
When you have a water system designed for 16 million people and you have 38 million people living in the state, it just doesn't work.
Joining in on the discussion was the Deputy Secretary of the Interior in the Obama administration, David Hayes.
This is a top priority for the Obama administration. We are working very hard both on the short-term, medium-term, and long-term solution.
Despite all the ideas presented today, Feinstein says it will take more than ideas to solve the water crisis in the Valley and California.
We have met, we have talked, the time has come for action, and the state legislature needs to stand up and pass a bill and put that bond on the ballot.
In Coalinga, Bob Lopez, KC24, Central Valley's news station. Operation Monitor is the mayor's program to keep track of paroled sex offenders in the city. It utilizes 2 retired officers who are charged with registering offenders and 2 field detectives who check for parole compliance. They received some help in the past few weeks from Tulare County's SAFE program.
The SAFE team to sex offenders is what magic is to gang members, their worst nightmare.
SAFE, which stands for Sexual Assault and Felony Enforcement, is a grant-funded operation which has the ability to reach out beyond Tulare County to assist nearby cities in the tracking and prosecution of offenders. Over the past 2 weeks, 2 large-scale operations were conducted in Fresno to check on registered offenders. Of 437 registrants, 12% were found to be out of compliance. As well as keeping track of offenders, the program has another effect.
We've noticed an influx of sex offenders in our community that have come in to register. And some of those were the people that we had visited and found them to be out of compliant.
Larger scale sweeps are conducted monthly with the Tulare County SAFE team. SAFE started in March of 2007. Part of their grant requires them to go outside of their jurisdiction. They've assisted in almost all the cities in Tulare County, as well as reaching out to Fresno, Kings, and Kern County.
This was a great operation. Their numbers that they have reflect a great partnership between the agencies and collaboration with the district attorney's office.
There are over 1,500 registered sex offenders in Fresno city limits, and 208 haven't registered this year. District Attorney Egan says when these violators are found by Operation Monitor and SAFE, they'll get prosecuted to the fullest extent.
Because of their priors, they go back to prison for a long, long time.
In downtown Fresno, Bob Lopez, KC24, Central Valley's news station.